Okay, great. So we've been told to get going. So let's get going. So this session is really addressing one of the key problems faced by both medical and non-medical theatre staff, and actually non-medical theatre staff generally. And that is, if you want to get into research, how do you find supervision? And actually, I don't know whether you had a chance to see Bhuvana's presentation just now. But she assessed barriers to research and views to research in up to 200 non-medical theatre staff, all kinds of groups, and not having anybody locally to supervise was way up there. The biggest challenge actually was staff shortages, which I'm sure we can come to, but that was way up there. So clearly it's a big issue. My name's Martin Birchall. I'm an academic surgeon in London and also director of the incubator. And in the work of the incubator in the last year or so, this has been a question that keeps coming around. I'm joined by Amy Bradburn and Dawn Carnes, who come from different backgrounds but have different perspectives on how one might approach finding a supervisor. Amy, do you want to tell us who you are, first of all?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Amy Bradburn. I'm an operating department practitioner. I qualified over 18 years ago. I'm now a surgical care practitioner and also a robotic coordinator in the northeast of England.
Thank you very much. And Dawn?
And my name's Dawn Carnes, and I'm a full-time researcher, have been now for the last nearly 18 years. So I work mainly in musculoskeletal health, do all sorts of research from randomized controlled trials to qualitative studies to systematic reviews to service evaluation. So my background is in clinical psychology and osteopathic care.
Thank you very much. So different backgrounds, but also sharing different experiences as well. So Amy, do you want to just tell us a little bit about where your pathway so far, and in particular your journey to try and find supervision?
Okay, so past, present and future. Following my ODP training, I topped up and did a degree. I then went on, did a master's, completed that a few years ago. And during that time, I've been looking at pursuing a PhD. I've been working with a proposal surrounded robotic assisted surgery because that's where my interest lies. But then during that time, I'm like, practically, how is this possible? And what I've discovered is actually it's quite a minefield of like where to start, where to go, who to turn to. So I'm at the very beginning of my PhD pathway, so to speak. So today's discussions and presentations I find very valuable, and I hope also this roundtable discussion will be beneficial to everyone here attending as well.
Absolutely, well, and thanks for coming. So you've actually already started the research career pathway, and you've had some training in research methodology in your degree and your master's.
Yes, correct. I just want to develop that further and get more involved, have more responsibility and lead on a topic that I'm passionate into. Like Adele said in her talk as well, something that I can make a difference to, is going to contribute to the bigger picture and help others. My difficulties are that being in clinical practice, it is a big challenge. I've tried to go and pursue a PhD within the clinical workplace, but I find it mission impossible because of staff shortages or needing to cover and the clinical commitments. So it is like, how is it possible for us people in clinical practice to pursue a research project?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I mean, you're unique in a way in that you have a very clear idea about the research that you want to do. And now you just need to work out how you're going to build a supervisory team to help you.
Yes, and also I've taken the decision to step away from clinical practice and move in, go and work at a local university to make this possible, because that is where I find the support is. They have that expectation that the team will pursue a PhD in the future. So I'm in that supportive environment to participate and lead research. Whereas at the moment, I think finding clinical practice, there's not that expectation or prioritization for a non-medical professional to do that.
Yeah.
Although it's one of the 4 pillars of being in an advanced role, there are the pressures there which doesn't make it that easy.
Yeah, no, completely. We'll come back to you as the discussion develops, actually. But Dawn, you were nodding there. This rang some bells.
Yeah, definitely. If you're in an advanced clinical practice role, and as Amy said, it's one of the pillars. But actually, the tension between clinical work and academic work, you often, Amy, probably felt quite isolated just in a clinical situation as a researcher, whereas in the academic world you have a lot of support, but it's combining the two. And I didn't say in my introduction, but I'm the chair for the Council for Allied Health Professions in Research. And we're doing we will be, and we have been doing a lot of work in this area, looking at how the two can come together in a more symbiotic way to support each other, because this is, Amy, what you said is a classic experience that many people have. So there's lots of things that we're going to be doing, certainly in the Council for Allied Health Professions in Research, to try and help bridge those gaps and support people in their clinical roles as researchers.
Could you tell us a little bit, because obviously you've done a doctorate yourself, and can you tell us a little bit about your supervisors and how you ended up being supervised by the people you were?
Me, Martin?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Well, there's various types of PhDs, and there's various types of research placements, as you know. So it depends if you're lucky enough to get a funded PhD, in which case your supervisors will be automatic. So you apply for the PhD on that topic. The much harder route is I think, as Amy's done, is when you have a research topic area that you're interested, you then have to find the supervisors and then find the funding. And that's incredibly hard. And it does mean you're investing a lot of time and energy even before you start your PhD to get the ball rolling. And I admire people who go down that route, but certainly there are more opportunities, hopefully, coming together for allied health professionals to find funded PhDs. Although as an allied health professional, it's tough competition when you're up against that huge world of all types of medical professionals.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess both you and I have actually been in a position of being supervisors, and I think certainly I am very well aware over my, as you can see, very long career of the mistakes that I've made as a supervisor and how I could be better. So, actually getting not just a supervisor but the right supervisor is actually an even bigger challenge in a sense.
Yeah, and one that will support you in your journey to get funding. And it not only funding, but getting your PhD registered at a sponsoring university, because the process to get your idea accepted and ratified as PhD level is also quite hard, getting that approval process to say that this particular university will support and sponsor you. So Amy, did you have to go down that process?
No, because going to work at the local university, I have my proposal and they're great, it's ready to go. But that proposal has been something I've been developing myself over the past couple of years, whilst trying to find almost like an unlocked door to take that pathway. And regarding the supervision, it's been quite haphazard. So I'd read a paper and I'll contact that author and have a discussion with them, discuss some gaps in research, thinking, okay, maybe that's how I can contribute. And having a clinical background, working with a professor at the moment within that field as well, it's okay, that could be a supervisor there. So my supervisors, I feel like I've got a couple just by chance almost.
Mm.
And not being assigned anyone specific, it's just having these discussions and forums, networking, that I've been introduced to people, and just networking.
I think that it's really crucial to the success of whether you end up doing a PhD or not, is having that relationship with a person who is as enthusiastic and supportive about that topic of research as you are. And yes, and they can be very difficult to find, but there are mentoring schemes and there are research hubs, all different networks providing different types of hubs for different professions. But in our case, at the Council for Allied Health Professions in Research, we have hubs all over the UK for AHPs, and quite often there people can network and find mentors and sponsors to develop their PhD ideas.
Those are brilliant. If you, I imagine you'll be talking about this in your keynote later on, actually. So if you can share links to the audience, then that would be amazing, Dawn, actually. So we do have some other people with us, actually, and I did see somebody log in just now. Does anybody else want to share their own experiences and ideas? Qui, I saw that you logged in just now. Go to Q&A.
Can I mention the NIHR Associate Principal Investigator Scheme? Have you guys heard of that?
No, and I don't think Peter raised it either, actually. Oh, but Amy has. Oh, great.
Well, I'm literally today submitting my checklist for the Associate PI scheme that I've been doing for the past 6 months. And again, that was purely by chance, because working with the professor in the operating theatre, he knows how passionate I am, and as in, I want to learn, I want to develop. And he's like, okay, how about this? This will keep you busy for 6 months. And I must say, it's been done predominantly all in my own time, again, because of the theatre commitments in my role. But it has given me a good insight and also an appreciation for the wider research team. So then when I come on to undertake my own research, it's okay, I have more of an idea of, like, you know, the traceability of things and the communication network of it all. So I would strongly recommend it to other people. But again, I found that by chance. I was offered this opportunity by the professor I work with. Will other people know about these opportunities? I don't know.
Again, it's about communication and dissemination, isn't it? And quite often, unless you're in the right place at the right time to hear about these things, it's quite difficult. But for those of you that don't know, the Associate PI scheme run by the NIHR is, what they're trying to do is encourage professors and anybody else who's a PI on a NIHR funded research project. So anybody on the portfolio can apply to be a mentor or a supervisor and look for associate PIs to work with them, to join in the team and be part of that process of learning, developing research protocols, delivering research, implementing research, analysing research. But they normally last about 6 months. So it depends where the research project is in its stage of development or implementation as to what you get exposed to as an associate PI.
So could you could either of you type in the name of that scheme?
Sure, I will
into the chat. That would be really helpful.
It's really easy. If you just Google this, you'll come up with the site automatically.
Fantastic.
When I started the Associate PI scheme, I was actually already involved within the study already in terms of data collection. So then when I actually started the scheme, I got more involved in a way and had that deeper understanding of what goes on and going off to help consent patients and the follow-up calls, working with the research team, having an understanding of what they do, and then the wider network group nationally as well, because it's a multi-centre trial. Yeah, I'd recommend it if people wanted to go for it, then do go for it.
That does sound superb. I think it's inevitable that anybody trying to get into research, there's going to be serendipity involved. It does depend on where you are and who's around you very often when you get started. But it would be nice to try and improve things. So, I mean, if starting from where you are right now, Amy, do you have any suggestions for how we might actually improve the process of finding supervision for those people who are not applying for the kind of named fellowships that Dawn was mentioning? So for finding supervision? Yeah. What would have made the last 2 years easier for you in terms of finding people to help and support you through the process of getting to where you are? Opportunities to network more. So, for example, I went to a conference in November. That was the Future of Surgery conference. And that's where I met quite a variety of people, some of whom were, say, surgeons or statisticians based up in Aberdeen. And they are actually valuable contacts now because they're involved in that field of research that I'm interested in. So, you know, there's so much I can do in terms of reading papers and contacting the authors and generating those discussions myself, but actually being in environments where it's collectively there's more people to have these discussions. But again, that's difficult when you've got clinical commitments and need to be at work for patient care. That's difficult. So I had that golden opportunity to go to the conference, but if perhaps there were more of those, then it would help facilitate other people as well to gain those connections. Was that a virtual conference or in person? No, yeah, in person. That's absolutely tremendous. And who funded your attendance at the conference? It was a free conference. Royal College of Surgeons, yeah. And time-wise, were you in the university post or the clinical post at the time? I'm still in a clinical post at the moment. So I was able to get that as study leave for the 2 days. But again, I didn't know until the day before because of work commitments. Our patients come first, quite rightly. So again, what would help me or other people is knowing you can actually go and attend these conferences or opportunities to meet other people, to just have the discussions, spark ideas, or absolutely. You can read about, you can read journals and think, okay, there's a gap in research here, but actually what research is currently being conducted that you could then contribute or complement the research that's not yet been disseminated. So going out there and speaking to these people is so important. It's very interesting that you were concerned that there might not be enough staff to cover you when you went, and this was the biggest challenge that came up in Bhuvana's study. That is really interesting and something that does need to be addressed. Yeah, Dawn.
Just to say that, as operating department practitioners, you are allied health professionals. So everyone is welcome at the CAPA, the Council for Allied Health Professionals Research Hubs. So you go on our website and you can find where your hubs are. Most of our meetings now are virtual as a result of the pandemic, as everything else. So actually it makes them a lot more accessible to a wider community, which is great. But there you can network, you can reach out, and you can get a lot of advice and guidance. Other places to go is the Clinical Academic Roles Implementation Network, which is called CARIN, CARIN. And if you go on their website, again, they've got quite a lot of advice, and they can also help direct you. And I think that's the thing, is finding people who can direct you to the right places and also the right people, other people. The other resource that might be quite useful to anybody listening is actually your local research design service. So contacting them and seeing what they're offering in terms of advice and guidance. They might have a network of professors or PIs who are looking for support from or engagement with people who are interested in doing research. So all these networks can actually be quite handy as well.
Absolutely. So I guess if we were to start thinking about the solutions, a lot of it's around awareness, isn't it? And awareness of where you can go for these things. Also, people do need more time to be able to actually think about it and to network, and the time is limited by staff shortages and so on as well.
The other thing that you can do is, if I know the College of Operating Department Practitioners, they have a professional body, the CODP, who are also there to provide advice and guidance for their members. So they might be quite helpful as well. I know in the profession I'm in, we have quite a strong research presence, and we're often facilitating networking and putting people together who we think might be able to work well together to achieve either a project or realise a PhD.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that I've become aware of in trying to develop the incubator is the number of different bodies that theatre professionals come under. There's a bewildering array of different organisations that people affiliate themselves to, Amy, and it might be that if they could come together, they might be able to offer a further source of a hub for potential researchers,
like a common platform.
Yeah. Because as well as the college, that there are other bodies too, aren't there?
Yeah, like Dawn's mentioned, ODPs were registered with the HCPC, and then there's the COPD, AFPP, also the Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh. They've got a faculty perioperative care. The Royal College of Surgeons of England as well, and there's the associate membership there, and they're all fantastic. But that common collective platform, I don't know that it exists. However, part of me is thinking, even if there was a signpost, because I've tried to navigate these for the past 2 years, it's when it comes to crunch time and practically doing the PhD, actually, I've not been able to be supported to go, have part study or academic time to do research. It's very much, no, we need you to do your clinical job. And I can't be the only person having experienced this, but the priorities of the service demand, and that does come first. But when there's research involvement, it's practically, how can we do this then?
Absolutely.
Even having a day secondment, or it's very, very difficult. It seems to be all or nothing. In my experience, and I have spoken to other people who've been able to get, negotiation of 1 day a week doing their study and whatnot, but unfortunately I've not been successful in achieving that. So it could be signposted, but practically, is it supported? I completely understand. And I think if you're incredibly focused and hardworking, and you're a great example, but a lot of other people would have given up, I think, given these barriers, and you shouldn't be on your own in this process. And I guess this is where supervisors come in too. I mean, I'm aware that over the years I've had to fight very hard for clinical researchers to have the time they need, even when they've had this beautiful medical pathway of ACF through to PhD, through to ACL, through to intermediate, it's all there, but actually in practice it's very rarely respected by the hospitals and the training bodies, and that's a system that's much clearer than the one that you're in. So I think having people to fight for you is critical, and that's probably where finding the supervisors helps too. Well, we've just got a couple more minutes.
I don't know. Certainly, there are other people listening to us. I'm absolutely sure. please ask us some more questions or make some more points. Any of you, either in the chat or by activating your microphone.
It'd be nice to hear other people's experiences of finding a supervisor, or perhaps not being able to find a supervisor.
Exactly, absolutely. So anybody there? Don't be embarrassed. And there's no question that's too silly, honestly.
And also, it's not just one supervisor, is it? It's often two, with a tertiary one for advice and guidance in the background as well.
Absolutely, so, absolutely. And most higher education institutions have the facility for you actually for that to be changed. I mean, if one of your supervisors moves somewhere else, put somebody else in, or if the emphasis changes, you can add secondary and tertiary supervisors to cover different aspects. And it's actually really good having supervisors from different backgrounds as well. Actually, that really is good. I mean, most of the ones that I've supervised, people I've supervised there's been myself with the kind of clinical and fundraising bit, and then either an engineer or a scientist, and had different perspectives. So actually that helps a lot too. Well, hopefully that has been helpful to those listening. What we could do with doing is just, I think, summing up, if there are 3 key points that we could come up with. Amy, do you want to come up with a key point?
I like the idea of what was raised earlier about having a common platform that can help signpost people. It's almost like being on a landing, surrounded 360 by different doors. Yeah. And you can test the handle on each one, but which door will open for you, it depends on who you are, where you are, what you want to do. But knowing the different, the Catherine, the different colleges.
Yeah.
And maybe perhaps even almost some examples of how people have found their supervisors to make it come to life more. Some videos.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And time support is a big one. A big one. Because even if you were able to navigate how to do your PhD, it's getting that support in time.
Yeah. Exactly right. Wei Yi, do you want to add anything? Hello.
Hi.
Who are you? Where are you from?
Hong Kong.
Are you? Oh, welcome.
Thank you.
Do you have any points on supervision? Any problems that you've had with supervision?
Well, I haven't started anything yet, so I don't have any questions at this moment.
Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us. Are you CUHK or?
No, I'm from Hong Kong. You?
HKU, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, and do comment if there's anything else that you think would contribute. Dawn, a couple of key points from you.
The key point would be to join a local research hub in your area, especially if you're an ODP. You can join the Kappa research hubs, and from that point onwards, you can network, you can talk, you can develop ideas, seek advice, guidance, support, and direction. So for me, that would be an excellent stepping point for anybody who's thinking about doing a PhD.
Fantastic. Great. Well, I think we're actually possibly even ahead of time, actually. So we are actually just a little ahead of time, which is very good. I guess, I mean, we've been really talking about non-medical barriers to finding supervision, and I think it's a reasonable assumption that medics find it less difficult, because there's generally somebody in the department who has done research before, or, that they're working probably more incentivized and facilitated. We've got much more study leave, funding for study leave and conferences, and well-established pathways. So I think it is in many ways easier for the surgeons, but actually finding the right supervisor is still an issue, particularly the balance between the supervisors wanting to deliver a specific project via the person, or alternatively the supervisor wanting to support that person's development, and that's a tension that's particularly acute for medics. Sorry, Dawn.
I was just going to say the protected time is also given to physicians, and allied health professionals don't necessarily have that protected time or the funding to back them up and support them as well. And when you look at some of the funding streams and the principal investigators and their professional discipline, quite often it's to the physician-trained medics rather than allied health professionals, which again is something that we're fighting to address some of the balance between.
Desperately does need to change, and we're not training more people at the moment, and we need to be able to expand the research skills across the teams. It's not good enough. Okay. I think our work here is probably done. Is there anybody else out there who wants to ask any more questions at this stage? All right then. Well, shall we duck out? And I'm going to present the summary of our roundtable in the next session. Actually, I think Dawn, you might be on next. Actually,
I think I'm presenting at 20.
You're presenting next. You're actually next. So which is good, because of course I'll be listening to you. I won't be getting together what I'm going to say, obviously, but I think I was going to say. And,
okay, I'm going to duck out because I have to go onto a different platform apparently.
Absolutely. Hey, look, you've both been amazing, and thanks so much for joining us today.
That's right. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.